So, as per all of our other meetings, this one's being run via Zoom due to the extended emergency acts that were put in place during COVID. As such, I am going to hold a voice vote to make sure we do have a quorum, which it looks like we do, and then we'll get into the meat of it. So I'll just go down the list. DiNapoli.
Napoli present.
Thank you. Balin.
Dalen present.
Percio.
Graham.
Here you are. DePietro.
Hello.
That'll work. And Helen is here. I do not see Robert yet, so we'll see if he's able to join. Knowing that Robert had thrown his hat into the ring, so to speak, or had considered throwing his hat into the ring, so to speak, for this stormwater piece, I will give him a moment to join before we, in pirate fashion, just appoint him without any consideration. So having said that, the first thing we wanted to cover was the various different departments. Has everyone had a chance to look at your department lists and take a look to see if there's any possibility of swapping or any interest levels in other departments based on other ones than what you currently have?
I'll say what I always have. If you want to take mine away from me, I'll fight you for it, but I'll help out anybody that asks.
Who do you have right now? You have water and waste, right? Yeah,
Yeah, and I think you got Mike and IT too, don't I?
you do have Mike and IT. Yeah. Yeah, just to reiterate, I have, because I figured it would be the most relevant as the chair. I have the selectmen, ourselves, the reserve fund, town council, and town clerk. Chris, you currently have the accountant, collector, treasurer, and assessors. Do you want to just keep them, or do you have any interest in shifting it up? You're on mute.
Sorry, I don't have a strong preference. I'm happy to keep
Okay.
them. Happy to give them to somebody else if they want them.
I would say that the big ticket items, or I guess the reason behind some of this, is that Kelly wants to, because of the nature of her um, nonprofit and the way she interacts with town. She would like to get off of school, which is cluster 9, which is Southeastern Regional, which is a relatively light one. School in and of itself completely, and then any other off budget accounts. And then Christina, you have inspectional services, Board of Health, Council on Aging, vets, and recreation. I assume you'll keep that.
Yep.
Yep. So someone Kelly will be letting go of school. So if anyone has any strong preference on this call to take schools, feel free to raise a hand. If not, that's okay, because we still have Shireen, who I think has worked with schools in the past, Jay, and Robert to ask. So it's not something we have to finalize today. Just the process was out there. If anyone did want to raise their hands to shift and take schools, the option's open. Arthur, what did you have? You have library and planning, which honestly is the coolest one because it's the library. So um, fight tooth and nail to not lose that one if you possibly can. I had it for a while and it was amazing and I loved it.
Roger that.
I miss it. I miss it every day. It's really what comes to. All right. So that we'll put a pin in that for now. Um, we know who has what. It's not a big worry, but we'll consider that second. Up second
Mind giving
is
Kelly mine if she wants them, but I probably don't want schools given that my wife is on school committee.
well, I'm glad you brought it up because there is sort of I guess I should call this out just for the sake of the committee itself. There's the idea of conflict, and then there's idea of perceived conflict, and they're very different things, right? So I am part of the finance committee, but I'm also part of the corporation side of the library board. Obviously, for me, and having gone through like a double check with the various different agencies that work on this stuff, um, the conversations around that is typically if you recuse yourself from anything that's a crossover sort of engagement, then you're probably fine, right? Chris, in your case, I don't know that recusing yourself would be of any value because then it would be recusing yourself from the entire point of that sort of assignment. So I think probably for you, keeping your existing one is great. If there's some additional trading that has to go on and you're open to that, I appreciate it. We can find some other pieces there that might make sense. Let me pull back up. So let me pull this back up now that I've gotten away from it. All right. The other piece we had was meeting minutes. We have. Here's the one that I sent out. I got all flustered when I couldn't get the stupid thing to open. Let's see. When did I send that out? End of the week, last week? No, I think this is it.
September 22nd, I think. Is that it?
Yeah, September 22nd, 10:41 a.m.
There we go. There it is. All right, so move this participant panel out of the way just in case we have an additional member jumping in. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve and then thus include?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Obviously, of course, it's Dinapoli. So, motion was Mike. Second is Dinapoli, and we'll just go down the line. Dinapoli.
Yes.
Balin.
Yes. Can I vote on this because I
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not keeping any records as to whether or not the minutes are accurate or considered. It's just literally voting to include them. If anyone had anything to change, I probably should have asked if anyone had anything to change, but I assume no one did. If you do have things to change or edits to make, you can make those edits in this context and then still vote to include them. Great question, though, because I used to have that same question myself. Percio.
Yep.
Petro?
Yes.
And I am a yes. All right. So the last piece is stormwater. So, let's see.
Was Robert doing more research on that, or was he saying
I
he
think-
wanted it?
He wanted it, but I think he was also in the position where he was like, I don't know that I want it yet. If anyone else wants it, let me know, et cetera, et cetera. So, long story short, the good thing about this is the Stormwater Utilities Steering Committee is theoretically, I still think this is the case, meeting on, today's the 25th. I think they meet on the 29th for the final appointment. Let me see if it's in here. Yeah, I think Select Board appoints on the 29th, and thus any subsequent changes to this, if we can put someone up for it, because the 29th is next Monday, right? Yeah. So Select Board meets on the 29th for their appointment and for their official appointment of anyone else that's the town members that are appointing, etc. So the goal was to have this meeting to submit someone for that pre-appointment so that they'll have the full Stormwater Utility Committee assembled. If, for whatever reason, after this, Robert says, you know what, I don't want to do that, that's totally fine. Until whoever it is that's appointed goes and gets sworn in, they're not officially the appointee anyway. So he did suggest that he wanted to take this on. I've not heard any additional considerations or concerns from him. He's not here. So I say we vote him in, make it his problem. And then obviously I'll talk to him afterwards. And if there is something else, the good thing is that, as I was saying at the top of the meeting, and the last thing we'll cover, there's a bunch of upcoming meetings because of the warrant articles. So we can always revise that for him. So having
Motion
said that,
to make it Robert's problem, DePietro.
Second, DiNapoli.
That is for the record, to appoint him to the stormwater utility.
thank you. I was going to say, I don't know that a motion to make it Robert's problem is going to carry in the same way. So we're going to say Robert as the stormwater utility appointee. DiNapoli.
DiNapoli, yes.
Balin.
Yay.
Percio.
Yep.
Petro.
Yes.
And I am a yes. I kind of want to take Arthur's lead on that and start saying gay because it just sounds so much more fun.
Can we say huzzah too?
No. No, definitely not. In fact, if you say that, actually, never mind. I won't finish that sentence because you'll say huzzah immediately because I know you. Last point of order, which is just reiterating meetings. So as of right now, let me pull this back up because I had it open earlier. As of right now, it looks like the two dates that work for the majority of people are, just to get a quorum, are currently October 2nd and October 14th. Those are the two most popular points. I talked to Connor earlier today, and this was essentially the items he shared. So, in current state, there's 19 articles. Elizabeth, who is amazing, if she watches this later, kudos to Elizabeth. She will have hopefully a draft that we can take a look at by the end of the day tomorrow, which will be obviously a great time to start circulating it. The warrant will be published officially by October 2nd, and then that's post the select board meeting where it's going to be finalized and officiated, etc., voted on. So October 2nd will be the actual published date where everyone can see it. The material changes between draft and published are almost never of any importance. But as he said, where did he put it? I want to quote him. There's much more to these than the typical fall ones due to how much was deferred in the spring, for obvious reasons, right? We had override, we had a lot of other things going on, so the deferment of some of these articles was pushed out. Now we're in a position where it's like, all right, let's make sure we get everything up and running. My goal is, and this is for everyone, including anyone that didn't make it tonight, is that if we can have 2 meetings, we'll schedule 2 meetings. The first meeting, theoretically on October 2nd right now, will be, let's go through any and all of the articles that are the place markers, right? The ones that are like, okay, this is just a bylaw change. Do we have to have a deep deliberation and consideration on this? Or is this something that the information there is sufficient for us to make a recommendation, yes or no? We'll probably have several of those. I'm going to, just to make sure we have enough time to get through these, I'm going to deputize myself to go to Connor and or Wendy and or whoever. I will have additional relevance for those conversations that I'll bring to that first meeting, so that we can get through the ones that are less thorny, to use a term. Second meeting, which theoretically will be on the 14th, will be the one where we bring in the various other department heads, Connor, Wendy, etc., to then have that deeper dive into some of the more nuanced conversations, probably whatever capital pieces are there, etc., etc. So that's the goal for now. That allows us to, yes.
If possible, if we could try to cram in a few of the thornier ones with the housekeeping ones, just so that we don't wind up with a 60-minute meeting followed by a
That's a good point.
4-hour meeting going over the deep ones, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what I'll do? I'll actually have a conversation with Connor and Wendy to see if we can maybe split them up anyway. Maybe we can do that. So
maybe it's like the first one that, if we need the Chiefs to show up and we need Dave to show up or something like that, and we need Wendy for the money ones. I don't know, because I haven't seen the warrant, but
yeah, neither have I. But I think that's a good point to say, is that there very well might be some that are a little bit lesser lift than others. I have found, you've been on here for a while, usually there's like 3 or 4 true deep dive ones, right? Like the ones that it's like, oh, this is a massive bylaw changing whatever. My plan is still to keep those to the 14th so we can have as many attendees as possible, because I just think getting people at short notice for October 2nd is probably going to be hard anyway, other than us. Or including us, because we had more people say yes today that didn't make it. So yes, Robert, that's why you're the stormwater utility guy. So I will, I'll take that under advice. I think it's a good point. I will pull that. I will go through it and try to at least split those ranks into slightly more consumable, but heavier loaded on sheer number, right? If we have 19 of them and we can get through 12 of them in that first night, we can typically rapid fire through the most of those, crush those, and then move on to the second one as a second pace. That's it. That's all I've got tonight. I wanted to make sure I informed you. I will do the same thing in updating the rest of the finance committee via email about that plan, just so everyone's aware. And then as soon as that published draft is out, I will start to circulate it, and so everyone can have the same chance to sort of get up to speed on it. If there are questions, this is the last point I'll make. If there are questions about that you can raise ahead of time, so that not only can I potentially track down some information for you in a non-deliberative fashion. I'm not going to, communicate and then have a debate about whether or not there's merits to this. It's more just, hey, this is information sharing. Here's that information. I can share that to individuals. I can share that to the full crew, as long as I do it on BCC, so no one can come back and forth and discuss those. But then additionally, if there are thornier pieces or more in-depth questions we have to get into, if you bring those to me early, then I can bring those to the various different department heads, and we can have that information ready to go when we actually join. That's it, folks. Do I have everyone's favorite motion?
before that, I'm actually going to delay that.
You are kidding me. It's a
Sorry,
one
everyone.
time.
I know, right? For the department appointments, do we need to vote on that as like a default, or are we just going to punt that to the next time when we have more people on the call?
Say it again.
The department appointments for the
Oh yeah. We'll just we're gonna leave it as is for now, with the assumption that Kelly's gonna have to shift hers, and then worst case scenario, I can shift mine. I'm sure there's ways to sort of do the trading for it. So I'm not worried about it yet. But if the option was open, if anyone had an interest today, then that was there.
got it. I understand. In that case, motion to adjourn. DePietro.
Second, DiNapoli.
All right. DiNapoli,
DiNapoli, yes.
Balin,
Yes.
Percio,
Yep.
Petro,
You know it.
and Helen is a yes. Thank you all. We are adjourned. Thanks for
Okay.
jumping
Thank
on,
you,
everybody.
everyone.